And so out of those things, out of these processes, what happens when you first wake up? Well, sometimes you're waking up. That's a stimulus, okay? You have a thought process, a stimulus. And then you sort of have your coffee or whatever it is that you do in the morning, maybe meditate to help you organize, to help you plan, to help you figure out what you're going to do. And then at some point you have to do something. And then after you do it, you ask yourself the questions, was that good or not? Did I do it or not? Does that affect me? It maybe creates a new stimulus, a new question. So how do you apply this? Well, we say that if you start putting this together, you have, to the east, you have the thought process. That's the mental realm. To the south, you have the relationship process, or the social realm. And to the west, you have the living process, or the physical realm. And to the north, you have the reflection process, or the spiritual realm. So, as a scientist, we would have a hypothesis, an observation that gets us started, perhaps. And, if in cyclical systems, you can start anywhere, but there is a process. And it'll flow, and it'll come back around. So, in some cases, I'm just used to starting towards the east, and so you would go through the experimental design setup, data collection, testing. Well, in engineering, you go through a problem definition and design constraints, solution generation and selection process, prototyping, construction, and then design feedback, corrections, next iteration, questions. And so that's how things evolve. So when we talk about sustainability, what do people, and which people, think about sustainable solutions? Is it us? Or is it people we're working with? Who is it? Who are these people? And who needs to be involved in the solutions? Who builds the proposed solution? And how do we know if the solution is sustainable? So a methodology could be to stimulate dialogue, exchange of ideas. You would have a decision process, establish relevance and priority. You have a realization process, make something happen, make something real, make something tangible. And then you have the ownership process. And the ownership process is, who owns it in the end? Did the community really take it? Is it really theirs? So these are questions. So an example would be, we had an air pollution problem. Here are the areas that we can solve problems and need to be solved. We have air pollution or air problems. We have water issues. We have food issues. We have energy and waste issues. We have shelter and housing issues. Well, one of the solutions, for example, if you look over on the left picture, is typical kiln that you see around the world. When they make bricks, they fire bricks, and they fire a lot of waste materials and a lot of things that it's pretty nasty. And you have probably in the order of between 500,000 to 1 million traditional kilns like this around the world, polluting. So we had to arrive at a solution for that allowed people to, an appropriate solution. And an example is a kiln system that I designed. And this kiln system is such that you can see it working in the bottom picture, and you can compare a typical kiln in the background, which is, at least a mile away, and you can see the difference. And a lot of this that you see down below is steam out of the MK kilns. Also, water. If you can see, the issues around dealing with water issues, people use that water for many purposes. Unfortunately, they drink the same water. Well, working with Potters for Peace and the group dealing with ceramic water filtration systems, and they were interested in my kilns, and I was interested in their water filtration systems. I started to try to improve on their technology because their technology has some limitations, and it works very well if it's working. But I tried to solve some other problems, so I created a filtration system, a ceramic water filter, which you'll see in the center picture. And you'll see in different containers, you can put 2 plastic containers with a ceramic candle filter in between, and you filter water through it. And you can see on the right-hand side, you can see that water as nasty as sewage water up in the top corner, before and after. And actually, somebody actually drank that water after I showed them all the test results, and they said it tasted good. I didn't try it because I had some problem up here, because I knew I was cleaning that water. And I just couldn't do it, but it doesn't smell. It didn't smell, and it was clean. Also, in working with cleaning water, I developed another technology, which I refer to as a black box. And that black box technology turns out that we could clean a lot of other waters that right now are going into ponds and waste, etc. And an example is water from, in the picture in the bottom, and that is waters from or dairies, for example. If that water is very contaminated, has a lot of green material in it, but if you clean it up, I can actually clean it like in the first picture. But they didn't want it that clean. They actually want it to be green because they want to use the nutrients in it so that they can grow things with it. They just need it to have a certain cleanliness that they can use, but that's an example. And we were talking before at lunch about waste. These kilns, one of the things that you can do with these kilns is, if you look at the left-hand picture, and the gentleman down below, Dr. Garrick Louis from University of Virginia, and he's from Tobago, and he says that in the islands, one of the big problems is all the plastics and all the materials that come into the islands that, for the tourism industry. And now they're everywhere, and it's a problem. So if you design the proper solutions, you can deal with them and deal with them safely. The center picture is in the far right, lower right-hand corner. In the upper picture, you see burning used motor oil in these kilns to make a product. You're making a product as bricks, but you also have lots of energy and lots of waste that you're getting rid of. Housing, you can go from houses that look like what you see on the left to houses that look like on the right. And the top one you'll see more of, and it's a system that's done with compressed earth block and has rainwater harvesting, gray water reuse, composting toilets, etc., made with compressed earth blocks. And the bottom picture is examples of materials that yet people on the left have right there, very close to them, but they just don't know how to put it together so that they would have houses, at least like what you see in the lower right-hand side. So lessons learned. Involve early the NGOs or community groups that have established track records to help identify community needs. Prioritize, quantify, and make the needs very visible. And use traditional customs in prioritizing, and also what's acceptable to those communities to see as being very visible. Measure progress visibly for all to see, community investment and ownership. And social entrepreneurship is a worthwhile investment. And sometimes you have serendipitous moments, and the pictures like here, there's Aaron, started Engineers Without Borders at University of Virginia. I don't remember if it was in 2002, just when Engineers Without Borders was starting, 2002, I believe, or 2003. It was at that time. And they were going to do all these things in this community. Guess what Aaron was doing? He was teaching math. There's a Saturday math class. He got so much more out of it. Those kids got a lot out of it. He never expected that he would be doing that. The project still went on, but that was the biggest serendipitous moment. And then the last little picture on the right is, guess what? With this system that I was trying to make for household water purification, I made a system that can clean oil water like in one step. Picture on the left, the bottle on the left is water with oil, oil water. Picture on the right, water without oil. Very simple, very inexpensive system. And one quick slide, holistic community development, and these are the things that I would put in my cycle, and the people I'd like to thank, and that's the group Engineers Without Borders from University of Virginia over in a community in Mexico, northern Mexico. Thank you.